What's up, everybody? My name is Brad, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're back at it with another book review, and this is a book that everyone's talked about. Everyone's neighbors, friends, girlfriends, moms, boyfriends, cousins, uncles, wives, whoever. Everyone's talked about this book. Everyone's given their opinion on this book. I'm here today to give my opinion on it and tell you what I thought about the book. It seems to be a very polarizing book. You either absolutely loved it, or a lot of people didn't like it at all. And just a side note, this happens to be the second Weird Punk Books review I've done this week. On Wednesday, we did the Allie C review for To Offer Her Pleasure. Today, we're going to be talking about, also from Weird Punk Books, Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke by Eric LaRocca. And this book, there's a quote in this book that happened over and over and over again. It's actually even here on the back. What have you done today to deserve your eyes? And I did not like that quote whatsoever. It bothered me every time I read it. There's two things that make me physically cringe up, whether I'm reading it in a book or watching it in a movie, whatever it may be, or real life situation, God forbid. Number one is claustrophobia. I don't like claustrophobic stuff. Like elevators stuff, that's cool. It's more when someone is squeezing through this tight little space in like an underground cave, or straitjackets. I don't like that kind of stuff. And the other thing is anything to do with messing with someone's eyeballs. Eye horror, eye trauma, whatever you want to call it. I don't like it whatsoever. Well-read beard, he's always talking about he has to get eye injections, and that just sounds like the absolute worst thing anyone could ever do. So I don't like eye horror. I don't like messing with people's eyeballs. So is there eye horror to be found in this book? I'm not going to say. I'm going to let you read it for yourself and discover if there is or is not. But that quote is said multiple times throughout the book. What have you done today to deserve your eyes? And every single time I read that, it was just horrible, horrific scenarios, torture, trauma, whatever you want to call it, scenarios would run through my head about horrible things that would happen to somebody's eyeballs. And I did not like that part of the book whatsoever. I'm kidding. I really enjoyed the book for the most part, but I did not like it when he talked about that sentence, what have you done today to deserve your eyes? Because if you haven't deserved your eyes today, then what's going to happen to your eyeballs? Those are the kind of things that went through my head. So that's different. Let's go ahead and dive into the actual review, what I did think about this book. Now, with all that being said, I do believe Things Have Gotten Worse by Eric LaRocca. This is probably my favorite piece of work I've read from him so far. I really enjoyed it. It's a very compulsively addicting read. It's not very long. It's very short. It's only about 112 pages, and it's told in epistolatory format, style, whatever you call it. I think I pronounced that right, where it is just kind of like chat room messages and emails and whatnot. So it's not a lot to read. It goes by very quickly. I would have burned through this in one sitting, but I started it late at night. I got tired. I had to go to sleep. But other than that, I completely would have devoured this in one sitting, probably over the course of a couple of hours or so. And I say that in saying that I'm not a very fast reader. I don't usually sit down and completely binge through a book at one time. That is very rare, if that happens hardly at all. But this one was so addicting, and I wanted to know what was going to happen next, that if I wouldn't have been tired, I totally would have devoured this all in one sitting. So this is set in the year 2000, so 21 years ago, and it was a different time and place social media wise. This was before Twitter, before Facebook, before MySpace even. No Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, any of that stuff. None of that existed back then. Your only social media that you had were emails or these online chat rooms like AOL, Instant Messenger, that kind of thing. So it was a completely different time and place on the internet back then, and you never really knew who you were talking to. And this is sort of a cautionary, epistolatory tale about meeting and talking to strangers on the internet. Like I said, really all you knew back then was their icon, their picture, if they even had a real picture of themselves, and whatever the words they were typing out on screen. Other than that, you didn't really know who was behind those words and behind that screen on the other side of that blinking cursor, who you were really talking to. It's sort of a word of warning that you never really knew. Even nowadays, you can see me talking, you can hear my voice on here, but you don't really know me or anyone else for that matter. For the most part on social media, it's all about presenting ourselves in a certain way and in a certain light for people to consume and devour on the internet. But even back then, it was even less so. You really didn't know who that person was hiding on the other side of the screen, whether they were a good person, a bad person, whatever their intentions might have been. From the fictitious author's note that opens the novella, we know right from the beginning that this is not going to be a story with a happy ending. LaRocca, he tells us the ugly truth of the destination right up front, but it's all about the harrowing journey of getting to that destination. We as the readers, we get pulled along as we get to bear witness to this monstrous, toxic, controlling, manipulative relationship. The mental and physical toll that takes not only on the human mind, but the human body as well. So our two main characters, Agnes and Zoe, they quickly form this online relationship through these emails and these chat room messages. And they form this odd bond that frantically escalates into this dangerous and demented contract between a sponsor and a drudge. And it is Agnes, she agrees to fully submit herself to the will of Zoe and will do anything and everything that is commanded of her. Now, I've seen a lot of criticism regarding the escalation of this relationship and how it was unbelievable how quickly this contract was formed between the two, basically strangers on the internet, how most people would not do that. And honestly, while reading that, that sort of went through my mind as well, like thinking to myself, I would never be found in a situation like this, agreeing to something like this. But then I sort of sat back and thought about it a little bit, and one, realized this is fiction. It's not real. But also that there are people out there, even though I personally would not find myself in this situation, I'm sure there are people out there in the world that would do this, find themselves in this situation, would agree to such a contract. For me, I believe that love at first sight is unbelievable. I just don't think that's a thing. It's kind of crazy to think you can see a person once and fall in love with them and want to be with them for the rest of your life. But it does happen. I know people who have fallen in love at first sight and they've gone on and got married and live happily ever after. So if I think that's unbelievable, but also people think this relationship is unbelievable, that also means that this relationship could possibly happen as well. I guess the main question is why? Why would someone agree to give over complete control of their life to a complete and utter stranger that they have never even met, just someone they've barely corresponded with over the internet a few times? Well, for starters, maybe that person is mentally unstable. Not really sure. Maybe someone's need and desire for any crumb of love or affection, albeit a sick and twisted kind of love, is so strong that they would do anything, and I mean absolutely anything, to hold on, grasp onto any semblance of that attention and affection and love that they are getting, even if it comes out to be hurting them in the end. Really, when it's all said and done, we really don't know why people do what they do. They just do it. So for myself, I just sort of suspended my disbelief with the escalation of the relationship, how quickly it escalated. I put that aside and just sat back, enjoyed the ride, and let the book take me on the journey that it was going. I want to talk about LaRocca's writing style for a minute, and this probably isn't the best analogy, but it's the one that I came up with. To me, his prose is sort of like a Venus flytrap. It's deceptively deadly. He lures readers into this false sense of security with his flowing, poetic language, only to have the darkness suddenly and unexpectedly snap its jaws shut around you. It's the juxtaposition of this beautifully intricate prose talking about these horribly heinous and horrific acts that is something I've come to expect from anything written by LaRocca. I don't want to say any more about the story contained here within, but I will say I absolutely loved the ending to the book. LaRocca, he tells us the what of the end at the very beginning, but he doesn't explain the how of it. And even here at the end, he doesn't lay it all out for us. He lets the reader's imagination wander where it pleases. There are enough subtle hints and clues sort of along the way for us to determine what actually happened, but it's really left open to the reader's interpretation about what is going on here at the end. And of course, my mind went to that quote from the beginning of the review and throughout the whole book: "What have you done today to deserve your eyes?" Things have gotten worse since we last spoke by Eric LaRocca. It's a dark tale of loneliness, obsession, control, fear, and desperation. It's about how manipulation itself can be utilized as a dangerous, dangerous weapon. Taking advantage of another person's own hopes, dreams and desires by twisting and tainting them with one's own sick perversions. Hopefully, finally getting this video review done is enough for me to deserve my eyes, at least for today. That's it. That's been my review of Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke by Eric LaRocca from Weird Punk Books. Ended up giving it 4 stars. I thoroughly enjoyed it. If you've heard mixed reviews about it, I suggest you pick it up for yourself and form your own opinions. But that's it. That's all I have for you guys today. So thank you for spending your time with me. Again, my name is Brad, and I'll talk to you.